Yo, what's poppin', Low Gang? It's me, Funny Coffee Man 69, back at it again with another banger react video, because that's apparently all I do anymore on this channel, is just watch stuff my viewers tell me to watch. But I digress, because believe it or not, this isn't a react video. I know, it's really hard to believe. I've lied to you. You've all been deceived. Listen, I too can grow as a person, okay? I've deviated from my roots, and I'm actually putting some amount of effort into my videos. But Coffee, I hear you thinking, what made you stop being such a lazy? And also, what is this video even about? That's a great question, Henry. Well, if you opened your eyes and look down at the title of the video, I know that can be a bit hard, but I believe in you. You can do it. You will see that I'm talking about Naruto today, my favorite anime ever, of course. Okay, but for real though, I started watching One Piece a couple of weeks back. Actually, not a couple of months, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And I've got some opinions to share with everyone. To give some context as to why I decided to start the show now. I have a friend that's obsessed with it, and whenever we hang out, he just won't shut up about it. I'm sure we all have that one friend, you know, the one that I'm talking about, that'll just ride in anime slash shows pee-pee until it just crumbles and wilts away from dryness. Well, it wasn't enough to convince me to commit to over 1,000 episodes of a show. Look, the main thing that kept me from actually starting One Piece was the episode count. I'm just gonna be completely for real here. That's the main reason. As of the time of writing this script, there are currently 1,122 episodes in total, excluding, of course, movies and all that. It wasn't until actually Moist Critical, the woo yeah baby man himself, posted a video a couple of weeks back, again, as of the time of writing this, on how he said he's actually enjoying the show after like what, 5 years of watching it. Which, by the way, can I just say, if it takes 5 years to actually start enjoying a show, just throw in the towel at that point. Like, typical anime episodes have like what, 24 minutes per episode, right? That's including OP, ED, all that shenanigan good stuff. If you watch like, say, 2 episodes, right? 2 full episodes without skipping anything of a show, that's a whole 48 total minutes on average you spend doing something that you don't want to do. Imagine working for up to 48 minutes a day, bro. That's actually insane. It's crazy. However, in said video, Charlie also mentions that he used something called the One Pace. The One Pace? What? Which basically just edits the episodes in a way that cuts off all the unnecessary fat that isn't in the manga to actually catch you up with all the episodes faster. And for me, that's all it took. As of the time of recording this, just finished Arabasta. Arabasta. I'm sorry, don't know how to pronounce the names. I'm currently moving on to... Okay, post-edit Coffee here. I am now halfway through Skypiea. I didn't know what I wanted this video to be at first when I started writing, but now that I've had the time to think and reflect on my life decisions, purpose of this little documentary, little Dear Diary entry here serves 2 main purposes. One, a time capsule, like that one Mr. Beast video where he records a video of himself for 5 years in the future. This is basically what I want to do here. I think that's what it was, right? Like 5 years? I haven't go check. Yeah, I think it is. And 2, give you, Lucas, and everyone else watching my opinion on the show so far. What I like, what I dislike, what I hope to see in the future, where I think the story could go, and just my overall thoughts and opinions and feelings on the whole kerfuffle dilbuffle. Oh, and of course, most of what I say in this video, again, is my opinion. There are some objective facts that I'll sprinkle in here and there for drama, but for the most part, I'm just gonna be saying what's on my mind, and if you disagree with me, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion. Also, no spoilers in the comments, please. That should go without saying. Anything else I gotta say before I start? I stream on Twitch almost every day. So without further ado, let's get started. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off quick and early. I hate the fights in this show. I think they're boring. I hate them so much. Let me just clarify, right? I don't hate every fight in the show. I hate most of them. So far, I'd say like 6 out of 7 fights, give or take, I just don't give 2 bricks about. And I feel like this is mainly due for 2 reasons, right? One, the animation. Come on, let's be honest here. It has not aged all that well. Keep in mind, I'm not talking about the art style. I have 0 problems with the art style. I actually like it. I think it's got that late 90s feel to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking specifically about the animations. You know, the fights look just really stale and juiceless. Is that a word? It is. And number two is predictability. There's a fight in Arabasta. I believe it's Sanji versus Mr. 2. It's usually the worst fight in the show so far for me. I kid you not, right? Before the fight started, I paused the episode and guessed exactly how the fight was going to play out. And I was right. Good guy losing, bad guy gets stronger, good guy wins by the skin of his teeth. You know, that sort of thing. Now keep in mind, just because a fight is predictable doesn't mean that it's bad by any means. Like, the good guy is obviously always going to win. That's not really what I mean by predictability. I just mean that most of the fights so far just feel sort of useless. Like, they're only used as an excuse to have everyone in Luffy's crew fight. Either that or, God forbid, pad out time. However, I do know that this is an quote-unquote early One Piece thing, and that the overall quality of the fights do get astronomically better in later chapters. But for now, the biggest issue I think I have with the show are the fights. And listen, you can like them. I don't. I really don't. However, I do have a few smaller complaints. So, you know that thing anime does where, for example, you'll have a character that's scared of everything and that's their entire personality. I think what's his name? Zenitsu. That's Zenitsu from Demon Slayer. Or say, like, for example, a character is like, I don't know, really into rocks, and so their whole shtick is just being really into rocks. Yeah, well, One Piece does that. Thankfully, not nearly to the same degree as something like Demon Slayer. Like, compare Usopp to Zenitsu, like I said, right? Like, two characters whose main personality trait, I say main vaguely, but whose main personality trait is being scared. Zenitsu only fights if the dude's asleep, because that's the only time that he's not scared. And when he can't see his enemies, that's when he can fight. That's it. Now, Usopp, on the other hand, yeah, he's a coward. That's sort of like his main thing. And he runs away from a lot of fights, but he does actually try to be brave. His objective is to be a brave warrior of the sea. And even though he's weak compared to people like Luffy, Zoro, or most just other people in the show, he still tries to be a better person and fight, even though his enemies are clearly way stronger than him. And I think that's some damn good character writing. So, to summarize, main problems with the show: one, most fights are boring, useless, and dragged out. And I also don't like that the characters only have one personality trait, but that's not that big of a deal, to be honest. Also, Arlong Park is overrated. I'm sorry, that's a controversial opinion. I just didn't really care much for what was happening. That one scene with Nami was really good, though. You gotta admit, I'll admit that. And honestly, those are pretty much the only real problems I have with the show. Again, like I said, there's like the smaller little things that I don't really enjoy, but those aren't really even worth writing down, if I'm being honest. They don't really affect my enjoyment of the show all that much. But now, onto the glazing. Listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Overall, I'm really enjoying the show, genuinely. This might sort of be a me thing, but when it comes to like video games, I typically prefer story over gameplay, which is why Omori is one of my favorite games ever, in case you couldn't tell. But what does that mean for anime? You know, how you translate that into an anime or just a show in general? Well, One Piece is a shonen anime. I don't like most shonen anime, if I'm being completely honest. They're typically very hit or miss for me, but most of them have been misses. By the way, if you don't know what shonen is, pretty much just a genre of anime that focuses on young adult or like a teenager, and it's typically like action. So think like Naruto, MHA, Black Clover, those types of shows. If a show is mid, it's probably a shonen. So you can imagine, that was a joke, by the way. Please don't at me. So you can imagine my surprise when unexpectedly I actually started liking the story. Yeah, I know, guy who likes stories likes the story. It's crazy. Don't get me wrong, it's super generic, yeah, but there's just something about it, honestly. I'm not quite sure why I like One Piece's story so much when it's genuinely like so similar to other anime out there. But what I do know is that I have questions. Because like, what the heck is the will of D? What even is the One Piece? It's just like a hell of a lot of treasure. What are the devil fruits? Like, where do they come from? Why are there so many of them? And why do they give people powers? Like, why do they give people powers? Can Luffy stretch his balls? All this to say, I'm genuinely surprised by how invested I've gotten into the story. I'm sure I haven't even gotten to the good part, quote unquote, yet, so I'm excited to see where the story goes from here. I'm enjoying it so far. Speaking of which, world building. It's decent. Again, this is something I know gets way better as time goes on, but right now, at best, it's a 6 or 7 out of 10 for me. I've heard multiple people say that this has one of the best world building in fiction, just period fiction, which can we just be honest here for a sec, is a damn high bar. Like, comparing it to the Lord of the Rings, right, to Song of Ice and Fire, right? You're comparing One Piece to that. That is a very tall order. And I will be real with you, part of me doesn't think that's true. And I know it's, of course, gonna vary from person to person how much you actually enjoy and appreciate the finer details of Oda's quote-unquote masterpiece. But from an outsider's perspective, someone who's just starting the show now, One Piece still has a long way to go to be comparable to some of literacy's giants. Oh, really poetic there of me. Jeez. Surprised I wrote something like that. However, one thing that I have heard is that basically anything that Mr. Oda thinks he puts into his manga, pretty much if this man has an idea, he will find some way to implement it into One Piece. So that's concerning, but hey, apparently people like it, so let's see what I think once I get there. Want to know another one thing One Piece does incredibly well? Characters. And I know this sounds contradictory to what I said previously about not liking that characters only have one personality trait, but stay with me here. Easily my favorite part so far about the show are the character stories. Listen, I'm not the type of person that cries easily when it comes to movie, series, anime, games, media in general. Basically anything that isn't IRL stuff, I find it pretty easy to hold back tears because boys don't cry. It's not that I don't get emotionally attached to characters or anything, quite the opposite. I just don't really feel the want or need to cry in most pieces of media that I consume. And if I do feel like crying, I, again, hold back tears pretty darn well. Because again, boys don't cry. For comparison, the only game/anime that has ever made me cry are Red Dead 2 and Plastic Memories. That's it. And trust me, I've seen my fair share of sad boy anime. Anohana, I love. Angel Beats, Your Lie in April, I hate. Violet Evergarden, you name it, I've probably seen it. They don't make me cry. But let me tell you something. Sanji saying goodbye to Baratie almost broke me. There's something about just seeing manly old men getting emotional that just does something to my brain. I didn't cry, mind you, but I was pretty close. Chopper's entire backstory was also really sad. That one scene of him crying almost got me, but I was kind of expecting it. Still a really good scene though, don't get me wrong. Speaking of characters, oh my god, the voice acting. I'm watching One Piece subbed, so Japanese voices, because I'm not a dweeb. And let me tell you, Misa Watanabe, I think that's how you pronounce her name, aka Vivi's VA, had no reason to pop off as hard and as frequent as she did during Arabasta. And she's one example, right? Nami stabbing herself in Arlong Park was a hype. Chopper crying again in Drum Island. And of course, the aforementioned Sanji saying goodbye to Baratie. Pretty much every single character has at least one scene where their VA will just go ultra instinct and deliver some of the hardest lines that I've ever heard. And that's pretty much it for the glazing part of it. So what do I expect to see from now on? Well, like I said, more world building, better fights. It's pretty much the main thing that I want to see. Now, before giving everyone my final thoughts on this whole kerfuffle here, I want to remind everyone that I stream on Twitch daily. Link is in the description. I'd really appreciate it if you could follow me there. Love you, boo-boo. Also, I've got a Discord. That's the thing that I have again. Oh, and shout out to my channel members. I've got a whole 2 of them. So, what in the swear word for purgatory do I think about One Piece? Really? Well, from someone who's still pretty early into the show, I think that One Piece is not for everyone. Duh, that goes without saying. Not any one show can be made for everyone and anyone. That's just physically not possible. There are a lot of things that are wrong with the show. There's no denying that. No matter how much you just adore this show, you can't deny that there aren't things wrong with it, especially with the pacing. For every bad side of One Piece, there's good sides, and you can't deny that as well, as much as you might despise the show. So from someone who's just now joining the Straw Hat crew a whole 2 decades after it initially started, I like One Piece. It's not the best anime I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, and it sure as heck isn't my favorite, absolutely not, but I'm happy to be here. And to you, the community who's definitely been following the show for way longer than I have, I hope you'll welcome me, and I'll see you all at the end.